Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Matt Hoffman, and I made a presentation today at the Cannabis Attorneys of Michigan quarterly client conference where they get all their clients together and talk about the things that are happening and changing in the cannabis industry, which are a lot. Um, and it was an opportunity to talk about cannabis workforce development, talent acquisition, strategies for opting municipalities into MMFLA, medical marijuana, or MRTMA, recreational marijuana, and then some strategies to attract talent and maintain talent. And so it was a really good conference, and there were some really good speakers and really good information. And I would recommend attending this if you weren't there today. And even for somebody like me who eats, breathes, and sleeps this, I was picking up information. I don't know everything, and it's really cool to bump into other people that are super knowledgeable about their topics. It's really cool. And so yeah, we're gonna cut to me making that presentation now. Hopefully, this is informative and entertaining. And here we go.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have Matt come up next. This is Matt Hoffman with Handgrown Workforce, and then what we can do is we'll take our networking break, and then we'll put the other two special guest presenters on the other side of that networking break, so we can all get a snack next door and refill our coffee. So I'd like to welcome Matt Hoffman from Handgrown Workforce.
Okay, thank you, Denise, and thank you for putting this on and inviting me here to talk to you guys today. So my name is Matt Hoffman, and I own Handgrown Workforce. And basically what we do is we connect job seekers to cannabis employers. And we do that through our digital portal called Handgrown.jobs. And if you had to say, Matt, what is your company? I would say we're not an employment agency, we're not a staffing company, we're a technology company akin to Match.com. So you have a person who wants to meet somebody else and somebody else who wants to meet somebody else, and we just create a platform for those people to meet. So we do not charge job seekers to use our platform. It is free for them to onboard, to upload a resume, to create a profile, upload a biography, link their social media if they would like to, show any credentials or certifications that they hold. We are in the process now of creating a portal for background checks. That way you can find employees that already have their background checks done, and that'll help expedite your onboarding time. So Mike was talking earlier about incentives to get municipalities to opt into MMFLA or to MRTMA. And one of the big levers for a lot of municipalities, especially in Grand Rapids, which is where we're based, we can service the entire state. Our stronghold is really in West Michigan. Within the city of Grand Rapids alone, I've got over 3,000 people that have uploaded resumes, completed profiles, biographies, and all that good stuff. My database is ever growing throughout the state, and as we roll into the new year, we'll begin servicing Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and then we're making new inroads into Illinois. So we'll eventually become a national service provider. So that's good for you, because the deeper the talent pool is, the more people you can attract, the more diverse people, the more specialized skills that you guys can acquire. But I want to talk about the incentives to get municipal opt-in. So one of the big levers is local hiring. So we were heavily involved in the Grand Rapids VITA, and we lobbied to put in the local hiring component that is now required of Grand Rapids businesses, where Grand Rapids businesses are committed to hiring 30% of their workforce from Grand Rapids. That was a huge inducement for the city. And so what we did is we created a set of badges, kind of like in the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, when you learn how to tie a knot, you get a badge. So we leveraged our digital platform and we created a set of badges. So knowing that local hiring is a priority, we created a badge that looks like this. So if a person applies to your company, we can put a pin on your location that's not viewable to the public. And through the back end, we can draw a 3-mile radius, a 5-mile, or a 10-mile radius around your company. And anyone who applies to work at your facility is automatically having this badge activated. That way your human resources manager or whoever does your hiring can automatically see that if local hiring is a requirement or a priority for your company, then they can see individuals that live directly in that community. That was a huge win for us as a private business, but also for the city and also for you guys, because it makes you look so good to say, we came here, we did good, and the cannabis industry has such an overwhelming stigma to overcome to begin with. So the more you can quantify and say, look at the positive impact that we're having on the community, the better it is for you to extend into other municipalities and to do what Mike had mentioned, where you start to pick your shots instead of just rushing to whoever opts in. You can start to say, look, we have employed 70 people within this zip code, and that's something that on the back end we can create reports and provide those analytics to you. So other hiring priorities are veterans. We recently had Veterans Day, so we created this badge. So if hiring veterans is a priority, then this badge is turned on by the job seekers, so you can see people who have served our country. And then also with cannabis talent, there is no shortage of interest. We held a job fair in Grand Rapids, the first of its kind, in the summer, and in a 2-hour period, I had 763 people come through the door. I had a team member there with a clicker. It was so overwhelmingly successful that it was madness. So we're very good at engaging with the community and getting people excited about working with you. But enthusiasm and knowing how to smoke a joint and pack a bowl, that isn't necessarily a qualification to work in the industry. And so what we did is we created another badge, the pot leaf, where let's say if we had someone that was a bud tender and is familiar with the metric system out in Colorado and came to Michigan and they wanted to work at one of your facilities, they would turn this badge on, signaling to your hiring managers that this is someone who's familiar and experienced within the industry, making it easier for you to spot talent that is legitimately experienced. So the next thing that we've done is social equity and expungement is another big lever, and I think that as local hiring is a huge component, employing people that have gone through a clean slate program and have their licenses, have their records expunged is going to be another big inducement for municipalities and for you guys as private business owners to say, look, we took someone who was a casualty of the war on cannabis and we put them through a workforce enrichment training process, and now we employ them. So we created this icon. I thought the lawyers would like this one. We created this icon, that way if a job seeker applies to your company, you can see that they've gone through a social equity or expungement process, making that hiring priority that much easier for you. So what we've done is we've created all these badges, and through the back end we've created a ranking. So if I were to apply at your company, and I'm not a veteran, I don't live locally, I don't have my record expunged, and let's say Timmy over here is a veteran, your hiring manager would see Timmy before he would see me. Timmy would be ranked above me. That, again, making it easier to hire your priorities. So that's a bit about my company and what we do. What we have found is working with traditional PEOs, we can interface and bring people in. When people think about working in cannabis, they typically find me first, and I can happily make my database available to headhunters or to other employment agencies. But what we found is there's such a stigma around the cannabis industry that a lot of traditional businesses that provide the back-end support that is critical to your businesses, they don't want to be seen as interfacing with the still taboo cannabis industry. And so we've been approached by some of these companies and they said, hey, we could do a lot of this stuff, but we don't want to, will you do it? And I said, yeah, pay me. Absolutely. I'm happy to do that. So when you're thinking about approaching your municipality, you don't have to be on the vanguard. You can use Denise, or you could use interviews me, we're happy to go in and have those conversations and just say, hey, my name is Matt Hoffman, and all I care about is cannabis workforce development. I got no skin in the game other than I want more people employed, and the more municipalities that are opted in, the more people that are employed. That's my end game here. I don't have to say I represent Cheech and Chong LLC. It doesn't have to be like that. So the last thing that I want to close with is the interest in working in the industry is enormous. I was a guest lecturer at Grand Valley State University last week for the first class of its kind within the nation. It was hospitality and tourism management with emphasis on how the cannabis industry affects those industries. And I queried the students and I said, okay, well, what are some things that businesses can do to make you want to work at their company? And one of the things that they almost said unanimously right off the bat was they wanted companies that were good stewards of the environment. And so the presentation that was just before me, if you can show that you're reducing your energy costs or you're having a net positive impact on the environment, that is attractive to the young and upcoming talent. The next thing is, we were asked, will we get insurance? Will there be a ladder for my career development? So when you're putting together your staffing plans and your critical employee onboarding plans, start to think about how you're going to attract and how you're going to retain talent. Because I can tell you that it's easier to get talent in this industry than it is to keep it. Because the companies that are the best actors and that are employing the best practices are creating robust incentives, whether it's flex time, whether it's more robust insurance packages or nominal profit sharing. As you guys know, how many people are actually operating right now? Okay, so you guys are familiar with how much time goes into training employees, especially in a compliant way, which compliance is such a huge component of every employee. And so the last thing that you want to do is put all that time and energy into training these employees and then have your competitor down the road come and offer them something more robust, and you lose them and you have to go through the whole process again. Those are things that we can help you with, but our purview is really on talent acquisition. We can get people to you, and we can make your hiring priorities that much easier for you. So thanks again, Denise. I appreciate the time, and I think it's the restroom and it's snack time. So we'll go from there. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Those were both fantastic presentations. I've heard Matt talk before, and he's fantastic, especially if you're looking for if you're in a merit-based application situation in a municipality.
Okay, I just wanted to take a moment and thank Denise over at Cannabis Attorneys of Michigan for inviting me to speak at her quarterly presentation. I met a lot of cool people and learned some stuff, which is always good. And also, I got a new coffee mug to add to my ever-growing speaker coffee mug swag presentation. Apparently, the going rate for me to speak at your event is 1 coffee mug. It's very expensive. So if you can afford that, then message me. If you're a student at a university or you're a group of attorneys or accountants that would like some insights into the cannabis workforce, talent acquisition, talent retention plans, how do you get people that want to work at your company, and how do you keep people to work at your company? I remember a year ago I had read an article from this headhunter who said the best way to get talent in the cannabis industry is to steal it from your competitors. And we can help you develop strategies to prevent that from happening, and then also provide resources to you to help you hit some of your hiring goals. So this is basically what I did during the presentation today, as I went over some of the badges, which I'll do now on Handgrown.jobs. So we're changing the Great Local Hire badge to the Bullseye badge. So for businesses, what we do is we put a pin on your location and we draw a radius around your business. And anyone who lives within that ring is automatically given this local hire badge, which means that you're hiring someone from your community, someone who lives within 3, 5, or 10 miles of your business. Local hiring is a huge component when municipalities are making determinations whether they're going to allow or disallow Canna-Businesses in their towns. And hiring local people is a really meaningful and tangible way to help make that persuasive argument that you're having a net positive impact on the community. The next thing is, you guys saw this the other day where we had the Purple Heart Veterans badge. So that signals to hiring managers that they are seeing someone who has served in the military and has an armed forces background that wants to work at their Canna-Business. And so what we did is we created these badges so hiring managers could more easily see candidates that they're looking for. Like, if hiring veterans is a priority, then boom, it's easy to spot a veteran. And it's also easy to spot people that have cannabis experience through this badge. And what this does is it signifies someone who has cannabis experience. So for the job seekers out there, if you were a caregiver, if you worked as a bud tender in let's say in Colorado, for example, or you worked at a cultivation facility, if you have any meaningful cannabis experience, then you should turn this on. Right now, I believe it says grower. We're changing that language to, are you experienced in the cannabis industry? So right now, turn this badge on if you are a person looking for work in the cannabis industry that has previous experience. Do not turn this badge on if you are somebody who has smoked a lot of weed and think that qualifies you to work in the industry. It most certainly does not. Having a base knowledge of cannabis is very helpful, without a doubt, but knowing how to roll fat blunts is not a desirable skill for employers. I mean, yeah, so smoking joints is not a qualification. So, okay, but for hiring managers, this is a way to spot people who have legitimate experience in the cannabis industry. For the job seekers who land jobs at cannabis companies, turn this on, because now you have experience working in a legitimate state-run business. Okay? The next badge, and we are rolling this out now, is, as local hiring is very important, I suspect that in the upcoming months, hiring people that have had their records expunged and gone through a clean slate process will be a priority too. And so we wanted to make sure that people that went through that process are given it help and an advantage to get back into the industry, because they most likely are experienced in the cannabis industry. So looking ahead a little bit and thinking about the future and taking a guess that that's probably going to be a priority, we created this badge, which is the Scales of Justice, that would signal to a hiring manager that they are looking at an individual who has gone through an expungement process. This is someone who was a victim of cannabis persecutions. This is someone who was collateral damage in the war against cannabis. And this signals that this is a person who's got their record cleaned up and now is available to work in the cannabis industry. So if you are a person who has had your record expunged, then make sure you turn this icon on, and that will be, I'll make an announcement once that's pushed through our back-end development, but that's something that's coming online sooner rather than later, and we're making available for the job seekers and the employers to see people that have gone through that. So expungements, legitimate cannabis experience, veterans, local hire. Local hire, you don't have to do anything. This just automatically turns on. So wanted to thank Denise for letting me give that spiel to the group today, and say that if there are any business owners or prospective business owners out there that are interested in getting in the cannabis industry, then you should most certainly go and talk to my friends over at Cannabis Attorneys of Michigan, and they have a robust set of services that can help you get on the path to growing your Canna-Business. So once again, thanks Denise, and thanks to everybody that came out and participated, and I look forward to doing the next one. Remember, if you want me to come speak at your group or your university, you got to pay the toll. Okay, bye-bye.